How's it going, everyone? So today I'm going to take you through my full chest workout. This is the workout that I'm currently doing just now to basically build a bigger and stronger chest. It's going to have a little bit of both. It's going to have a little bit of strength work and then a lot of, volume to help make sure you're growing your chest and building a bigger chest. So yes, I will show you everything and I'll explain why I'm doing it. So this is the kind of workout that you can do if, it's either a portion of a kind of bigger workout. So for example, you might do a push day and this is the chest portion of the chest day, or at least some of it is. Or if you're just doing like an individual chest day on its own, this pretty much covers you for that full session. So the first exercise I'm going to be doing is your standard barbell bench press. Now, because I have been recovering from surgery for the last few months, I'm pretty weak. So this first exercise is pretty much to target my max strength. So it's going to be low volume, at least initially. Going to try and work up to a top single. Not got massive amount of expectations, I'll just see how far I can go. I imagine it's going to be somewhere between 120 and 130 kilos, and then after that I will do some volume, just some back off work. So although bench press admittedly isn't my favourite exercise in the world, it is the best exercise you can do just to build an overall bigger, stronger chest. So I think if you are including, a flat bench press in your program with the barbell, that should always be the first exercise you can do. It's the exercise that you can use the most weight with, so it's going to take the most energy effectively, and you want to be as fresh as possible for it. So I think you can maybe get away sometimes with doing incline second, and you can maybe do like flat dumbbells first, but yeah, I think if this is in your program, I think this should always be your priority. So it's starting to get heavy now, so getting sleeved up. So what I'm doing today is what I suggest that most people shouldn't do, and I'm just pretty much just kind of taking a pot guess at kind of where I am, and I can kind of get away with that for two reasons. Number one, because I'm that experienced, I do have a pretty good understanding about how the weights are feeling and how much more I've got left and how it's compared to doing the same weight before, etc. Another reason it is because, again, I'm just building myself back up just now. I've not really got any main goals or aims or anything like that. There's nothing really for me to beat at this current time, so it's pretty much just working up to a weight that feels hard and not trying to absolutely go to the brink of death. Even if I get to like 90-95%, that'll be fine, and from there that'll obviously give me a gauge for the following session, and get a few more weeks of that under my belt, and then I can start actually being a bit more precise with my programming. So that's feeling pretty heavy. That was 115, so I'm just going to do one more jump and I'm going to go up to 122.5. That is 2.5 kilos more than I've done the last session during the week. So yeah, any gains, again, it doesn't need to be massive. If you can go up 2.5 kilos each session, I mean, you do that over a month and that's 10 kilos. So yeah, I'll be pretty happy with that. So that's me done all my work on the way up. I'm now just going to drop back and do some volume. Again, nothing crazy. That was probably a wee bit harder without boring you with the details. So I'm not going to be doing anything crazy on the way back down. I'm literally just going to be going to 90 kilos. And I'll just, get between 8 and 10 fairly comfortably, and then after that I'll drop back to 80 kilos and go for 10 or 12. And the reason I'm not trying to do anything crazy just now is basically to save my back. That's a long story short. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on my back, not trying to arch too much, and the 122.5 was probably a bit more than I would have liked, and the reason that I'm doing my back off sets like probably later than I should is because I'll be able to do that and keep a nice position, not put much pressure on my back, and then still get a decent amount out by the end. And as you can see, I am de-wrapping myself for this just to just make it a little bit kind of harder, and I don't really need massive amount of joint support for weight like that. So the rest of the session from here is just pretty much volume stuff, high volume. Again, the stage of training I'm at just now, I'm not doing anything crazy, and I've done the heavy stuff, and this is just now about getting in as much quality volume as I can without absolutely killing myself. Normally on my second exercise I would still go pretty hard, but because I'm doing quite a lot for my chest just now, it's just about getting quality reps in, keeping good time under tension, and yeah, I'm going to get more benefit from that than going absolute hell for leather. So now moving on to incline press. Again, we've done our flat movement, and yeah, now following that up with an incline, so we're now kind of working on the upper chest, and I've already done, you know, 3, maybe 4 hard sets of flat bench if you want to include the work on the way up to the top single. And I'm now just doing 4 sets of 8, relatively light, starting off at 60 kilos and just working up to a weight that, you know, I find fairly hard but still fairly manageable. So my preferred angle off incline when you do an incline bench is 45 degrees. You could probably go one higher or one lower than that, like, you know, maybe to 60 degrees or 30 degrees, but I think anything kind of more or less than that, you're going to be too close to like being totally upright and too close to being flat that you may as well just do a flat bench. Yeah, again, 45 degrees, and I think that's your best bet for incline. So I'm obviously doing incline with the barbell in this session, but you can substitute that for incline dumbbells, which I think are a brilliant exercise, and probably my second favourite to flat bench, to the point where I actually normally do a session where incline dumbbells is the actual primary movement. You can do both flat bench and incline bench on the same day. Both brilliant exercises, they're both working quite well with each other, but again, it's just about kind of sometimes monitoring your intensity and making sure that you don't do too much of one before you go on to the other, or doing too much of both that then has a wee knock-on effect on the rest of your session. So now that I've done my 2 main pressing movements, I'm now going to move into some isolation work, and can't really beat flies, dumbbell flies, and they're my go-to all the time, even if I do have access to, you know, all the fancy machines and cables and all that stuff. That's just my personal preference. And when I'm doing these dumbbell flies, I'm really focusing on my time under tension. I'm really focusing on making sure everything's, you know, technically pretty perfect. So I'm up in the reps on the fly, so we're going to sets of 10, so that's going to be 4 sets of 10. So a lot of times when I see people do flies, they're basically just doing like a wide bench press. They break their arms, and instead of continuing to move through the shoulder, they just drop their elbows back and they end up this position here. And then they're effectively just pressing straight up. And example I always use to people, and what I always say is, think about a bird when it flies. It's not like flapping its wings like that. It's nice and wide, and that's the position that you want to be in when you're doing your flies. Obviously just now, I'm not going absolute hell for leather, and I could go heavier, but I'm a 145 bencher. I've done 120 odds today, and I'm using 20 kilos for my flies. And I'll see people who, you know, struggle to bench 100 kilos using like 30 kilo dumbbells for their flies, but it's not actually a fly they're doing, it is just like a bench press. So when you're doing your isolation stuff, work hard, push yourself, but make sure that, you know, you understand why you're doing it. It's an isolation exercise, it's to target that muscle, so you don't need to go absolute hell for leather to the point where your form's just breaking down and you're turning it into a different exercise. So I've done my flies, and now moving on to my kind of last exercise, which is essentially just a finisher. Now, it can be pretty much any pressing movement. For me, spoiler alert, I'm doing dips, but it can literally be anything. It can be dips, press ups, you know, if you've got a machine press, just something that you can get a good stimulus from, so basically feel the muscle working from, without putting you under massive amount of strain or pressure, so like a big heavy weight essentially. But yeah, dips for me, one of my favourite exercises. Just make sure when you do dips that you're leaning into it to work your chest. The more upright you stay, the more it's just going to throw the load on your triceps. So yes, if you're going to do dips for your chest, just lean forward into it, get your shoulders over your hands, and that's going to make sure your chest's working a lot more. Number of sets and reps, I'm just doing 3 sets of 12 on it. Normally I would probably push myself a little bit more if I film this video. Is it getting in the way of my training a wee bit? So yeah, 3 sets of 12, just body weight, nice and easy. Just give me a good pump to finish off on. Could put a wee bit of weight on, but we'll wait till I get used to training and talking at the camera at the same time. So that's your chest session done. So you can use this session as a one-off chest session like I'm doing, or you can just break it down, lower the volume a wee bit, and have it the chest portion of maybe a push workout, or if you're maybe pairing chest up with whatever other muscle. And then I would just cut back on the kind of number of sets you do, and you can either do that through reducing the amount of actual exercises and keeping the same sets in, or you can do all 4 of the exercises and take a set away from each. Hopefully you found this video useful, and hopefully I get better at training and recording at the same time, and I'm not all over the place. And seeing as this is one of my first videos that I've put on here, please give it a like and follow, and can't even say it with a straight face. Do all the social media stuff that you need to do and share it and show your granny and dog and everyone. And I will see you in the next video.